Lawrence Stroll, the owner of Aston Martin's F1 team, is losing patience with the team's performance. Despite bringing upgrades to their cars, Aston Martin is the only team that has gotten worse after introducing their new package in Italy. With no improvement in sight, Stroll may cut back on the non-stop funds flowing into the team. If significant results are not seen in 2024, a major shake-up could put key figures like Krack and Fallows at risk. Another big question is the driver lineup, especially whether Stroll will make a tough decision about his son Lance. So let's dive into this video today to find out more. It's clear that Aston Martin has been one of the biggest losers in the 2024 season. Comparing the points charts from 2023 to 2024 after 8 races, Aston Martin has lost the most points, 110 in total. They have fallen behind Mercedes and McLaren, and if this trend continues, they will be in a tough fight with Red Bull for 6th place in the Constructor Championship. This decline is far from the team's goal a year ago, when the Silverstone-based squad managed to secure 6 podiums in the first 8 races of the season. However, as the upgrades started to roll out, the team's performance began to deteriorate. Aston Martin's decline and Lawrence Stroll's frustration. Instead of pushing for more podiums and wins after the first 8 races in 2023, Aston Martin only managed 2 more podiums for the rest of the season. In 2024, they haven't even come close to a podium finish. This indicates a worrying trend. The team does not fully understand their car, an issue similar to what plagued Mercedes in 2022 and 2023. The lack of understanding of the car suggests a fundamental problem that might require a complete restructuring of the team. Despite high hopes for Fallows, the former head of aerodynamics at Red Bull and now Aston Martin's technical director, his knowledge of the ground effect era seems limited. This situation illustrates that hiring a high-profile member from a successful team does not automatically make you a race-winning contender, a lesson Lawrence Stroll is starting to grasp. Given the poor performance, especially evident at the Imola Grand Prix, Lawrence Stroll has scheduled a crucial meeting with Fallows and team principal Krack to understand why the car performed so poorly. Aston Martin's struggles were starkly highlighted in Imola, where even with 4 sets of tyres, they were off the pace and placed similarly to their position at the end of the 2022 season. Aston Martin has heavily invested in new facilities at its Silverstone base, but its performance has not met expectations. Despite these investments, it faces significant challenges, especially with its recent upgrades. While some believe Aston Martin's issues stem from sharing a wind tunnel with Mercedes, McLaren's success disproves this theory. McLaren has shown that sharing resources doesn't necessarily hinder performance. The upgrades introduced at Imola were expected to improve the car, but they led Aston Martin in the wrong direction. Rather than widening the car's operating window, the upgrades narrowed it, making the AMR24 more unpredictable, unstable, and harder to drive. Fernando Alonso's radio complaints about steering difficulties highlighted these issues. As Aston Martin's performance declines, the pressure on key figures like Fallows and Krack intensifies. Lawrence Stroll has invested significant finances and forged valuable partnerships, and now sees his team struggling for points. This situation is far from the vision of competing at the top. Despite the team's struggles, the qualifying gap between drivers has narrowed, with Lance Stroll out-qualifying Fernando Alonso in the last 3 events. However, Alonso, a 2-time world champion, has contributed 75% of the team's points in 2024, placing 4th behind Nico Hülkenberg and Alexander Albon. Aston Martin managed an unfortunate feat in Monaco. They were the only team slower than last year, while other teams improved by about 1 second. Various factors like traffic and strategies play a role, but spending $100 million more on development only to regress is a significant setback. Having 2 solid performing drivers is crucial for a team aiming to break out of the midfield and compete for podiums. While Fernando Alonso has the experience and skill to guide the team, the car itself has become a major issue. Alonso's recent statements indicate a lack of confidence, suggesting the team is struggling to understand the necessary upgrades. The primary fault lies with Dan Fallows and his team. Transitioning from a chief aerodynamicist to a technical director is challenging, and Fallows may not be meeting expectations. This has led to speculation that Lawrence Stroll, the team's owner, is considering a replacement for Fallows. One thing Aston Martin doesn't lack is financial resources. They've made significant offers to high-profile individuals like drivers and engineers, including attempts to lure talent from Red Bull. However, after failing to secure key personnel, Aston Martin has shifted their focus to Enrico Cardal, Ferrari's current technical director. Potential impact of Adrian Newey joining Ferrari. If Adrian Newey were to join Ferrari, seeing how well he integrates into the existing structure would be intriguing. This move could directly threaten high-profile individuals within Ferrari, pushing them out of their comfort zones. Although this scenario has not yet materialized, missing the chance to sign such a successful and experienced engineer would be a significant loss for Ferrari, akin to Hamilton's signature impact on the sport. For Aston Martin, this potential shift adds pressure on Dan Fallows, the current technical director. If Newey decides to take on a new challenge, it would highlight Fallows' struggles in extracting performance from a car that his team fails to fully understand. Fernando Alonso's comments about the AMR23 reflect this uncertainty. We seem to go back to the midfield instead of looking at the front runners, but these things can change quickly. We've seen with other teams how a good upgrade can move you up 5 or 6 positions. Alonso emphasizes that Aston Martin is working hard to achieve significant improvements with upcoming upgrade packages. However, effort alone does not guarantee results on the track. For Lawrence Stroll, the team's owner, any statement from Alonso, Mike Krack, Fallows, or even his son Lance Stroll might seem like mere excuses. Stroll has provided substantial resources, including new facilities and a revamped team branding, expecting tangible results in return. The stakes are high for Aston Martin, especially as they continue to invest heavily in their bid to break out of the midfield and compete for podium finishes. The potential arrival of Newey at Ferrari could shake up the F1 landscape, impacting teams beyond just Ferrari and Aston Martin. As the pressure mounts, Fallows and his team must find ways to translate their efforts into on-track performance to meet the high expectations set by their ambitious owner. Despite significant investments and efforts, results are still lacking for the Silverstone-based Aston Martin team. Anticipation is building around potential changes, but it's uncertain whether these will yield positive or negative outcomes. While Fernando Alonso previously mocked Alpine's struggles, his team now faces similar challenges. This highlights the need for caution in judgment. A major point of optimism for Aston Martin lies in their upcoming collaboration with Honda. The Japanese manufacturer brings a wealth of championship-winning experience, which could significantly enhance Aston Martin's competitiveness. This partnership holds the potential to shift the team's trajectory towards more consistent race wins. Driver lineup speculations. A critical factor in realizing this potential will be determining the drivers. There is speculation that Honda might leverage their collaboration to secure a spot for one of their drivers, potentially Yuki Tsunoda. Given that Tsunoda's promotion to Red Bull appears unlikely, Aston Martin might become a strategic fit for him, particularly if Racing Bulls do not achieve podium competitiveness soon. Given the current performance issues, many believe that significant personnel changes at Aston Martin are imminent. The focus will likely be on high-profile staff members, who may face scrutiny from Lawrence Stroll, the team's ambitious and demanding owner. Dan Fallows, the technical director, is particularly under pressure. Despite his high-profile recruitment from Red Bull, the car's performance has not met expectations, leading to increased scrutiny of his role and capabilities. Fernando Alonso has openly acknowledged the team's struggles, stating, "We seem to go back to the midfield instead of looking at the front runners, but these things can change quickly. We've seen with other teams how a good upgrade can move you up 5 or 6 positions." His optimism reflects the team's efforts to turn things around, but tangible results remain elusive. Lawrence Stroll's substantial financial investments, including new facilities and strategic partnerships, underscore his commitment to elevating Aston Martin's performance. However, with the current trajectory, his patience might be wearing thin. The pressure is mounting on the team to deliver results, or they risk further personnel changes and restructuring. So what do you think of the bold claim by Lawrence Stroll on Aston Martin? Comment below and subscribe for more.